And even the chair, how far it leads back to open up the heart space, everything in there was so much intention and so much research and thoughtfulness for the client to heal naturally.
Oh, this is major. It's like the next big thing. Come catch the wave, yeah. Yeah, watch what's happening. A force of nature. Hit 'em like lightning. Be the creator of the next big thing. We're the movers and shakers. We are the dreamers, the makers. We stand on top of equators. We are the limitless. We got the future, no papers. We are the innovators. We have the focus like lasers. You know we doing it big. Oh, this is major.
Greetings and welcome to the Compromise to Alchemize podcast with your host. I am Dr. Neil Bolchandani, and I'm really excited about the episode you're listening to right here. It's with Gail Lynn, the inventor of the Harmonic Egg. That is this big chamber, and she more appropriately calls it a cocoon. And it's very large in size, and it's a beautiful sound and light chamber, but there's a really specific design to it. And Gail goes into that. She goes into where did it come from, how she kind of created this, or how it came into being, because she facilitated its creation. We talk about downloads, we talk about those things that come through visions, and it's just a world I love. It's the world I live in, and I really love talking with somebody who is not just a kind of a healer, a visionary, but has put something into form that is now not just a physical tool, but this chamber, this harmonic egg, is a across the world thing. So people have these eggs and different reasons why they would have one, and typically they're going to get one so that they can facilitate healing with all the people that come across their paths. That she also has the lift capsule, so it's a kind of more at-home version, but we're still talking a big chamber that you go inside. And I've experimented with and tried so many different kinds of sound and light therapy, so I really like so many of them. But there are a few that have this kind of take over the room quality, and it's for a good reason, because when you go inside and you sit inside, then you have these different vibrations and frequencies that bounce off of you, and so there is a very physical impact that you get and experience from that. I've been in a Harmonic Egg, and I've referred people to them, so I'm excited. I know that if you look it up, you could find where there is a Harmonic Egg near you. So it is exciting. We have one in Santa Barbara. I'm to mention the one in Mount Shasta as well, because that's the first one we came across. We moved from Redding down to Santa Barbara in February, and the closest egg to us was up in Mount Shasta. But I think, it was when I first heard about this was through Gail's interview on Luke Story's podcast, and I really enjoyed that interview. I really enjoyed their conversation on it, and it led me to find out more. So to introduce Gail, she is a renowned visionary, inventor, and pioneer in the realm of frequency healing, definitely. And she just helps foster a beautiful shift, I think, in wellness. And, definitely I'm really want to celebrate this creation because it's out of this world, as she talks about. And, definitely look up Harmonic Egg, all across the social media. And it's really fun to have this conversation and to have have had the follow-up conversations I've had with Gail, as she's really down to earth, even though you'll find out from the interview, I asked her, like, how'd you describe this to someone like from a different planet? So she ran with it. So, yep. Hope you enjoy. Really looking forward to seeing what you think about it. So please let us know and enjoy.
This is major.
All right. Well, I'm excited to be sitting here in Santa Barbara, and you are there in Colorado. And Gail, it's been a really treasure just to chat with you for a few minutes leading up to this time. And I just loved how you're up for flowing, and me too. So I'm excited to flow in this conversation and just get to know you a little bit more, and also just share with my people more about the harmonic egg. Although I know so many people out there know it because it's such a brilliant uh, invention and technology. So thanks for being on with me.
Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure.
Yeah. So um, I have so many, places to go with this, but and I know that some people have experienced the harmonic egg, but I want to say from the get go, as some have already heard me say this, but you invented this and created this, and yet what I'll say is, if I could speak for you, you harnessed this reality and manifested it on the earth, and now there are these amazing pieces of technology across many places. So I had the great pleasure. I've been referring people to the egg for a while, for years, but last week I experienced my first one, and I will say, like, it was really special. And I've experienced a lot of frequency technologies and a lot of cool saunas and things like that, but this was very different than any of those things because of the geometry and the way the sound and the soundtrack. And Sarah, who owns Alfara, which is the local Santa Barbara business. She's a herbalist, skincare expert that has an egg, and I'm excited for more people to experience that here and everywhere. So yeah, now I'm gonna talk for 3 hours, and then I won't let you talk. I'm just kidding. So I just wanna gush about the experience, but, um, maybe I'll give you a little bit of, like, a fun challenge in, how would you explain the harmonic egg if you showed up on another planet and you wanted to explain it to a being there who had never seen it, heard of it, and maybe didn't really know that much about humans?
You really stumped me on that one, so I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Okay, so I would say that on the Earth plane, we all come from an egg. We come from the womb.
Ooh, okay.
And so inside the egg, you're in a womb space. You're rebirthing yourself in an egg. You're coming back to the perfection of when you were born, when you were absolutely perfect. And you're resetting that beautiful nervous system. And on the earth plane, humans have a nervous system, and that nervous system gets out of balance, and then the body can't heal itself. But the human body is so magical and so beautiful that when in the right environment, it can heal without you don't have to think about breathing. You just breathe. You don't have to think about digesting. You just digest. The nervous system knows how to heal the body when it is in balance. And so these really lovely human beings on the earth plane have this beautiful nervous system that can heal their body so naturally and so magically when it's in balance. And the harmonic egg is that womb space to bring the body back into balance to heal naturally. How's that?
That was amazing. I love it. I've been really wanting to hear more about that correlation too. So, wow. Yeah, you flowed with that so amazingly. So that was so good. I feel like that is a good practice for me to do. Like, 'cause if I took that and I ran with it like you did, and somebody comes in for a session or I'm a consulting, I think I need to answer from that context because it was so clear. And I'm like, oh yeah, that is good for an adult or a little one to help understand, like, how we work. So, brilliant. Yeah, that's really beautiful. Did you understand that correlation, like, in the inception phase before you created the actual first prototype of it?
No, sir, I did not. I was an engineer from automotive. I was a program manager from telecom, and I was a producer in Hollywood.
Mm.
But I believe there's a Hippocrates saying that says, "If you're not your own doctor, you're a fool." And I know it sounds really negative, and people might get triggered by that, but we're foolish if we're not our own doctor. So I talked to so many doctors. I worked for a doctor's office when I was 17, And at that moment, when I was 17, I started getting migraine headaches. And I asked the doctors, why would I get migraine headaches? They didn't know. They said, everybody gets migraines for different reasons. And that was the answer. And gave me Imitrex. And that did not resonate with me. If our bodies are so awesome and magical, then how come I'm getting these migraines? What is the root cause? And so I've written articles about migraines, but I was able to heal myself. And this is not my invention. This is a download or a manifestation from the universe that came through for the humans at this time, because we need to start being our own doctor. We need to start healing naturally. We need to stop saying, oh, well, you don't need your appendix. It doesn't do anything.
Hmm.
Source, God, who, whatever word you use, gave us everything that we need to heal, and we need an appendix. There's a brain connection with the appendix. So I really believe that we needed to heal naturally. When I was able to find sound and light therapy, and it helped my migraines almost immediately, I knew that I had to bring this to the earth plane and to the humans to really help them to heal naturally. And then I started thinking, my engineering mind started thinking, well, we're vibrational beings of light from God, from source. So why aren't we healing with sound and light? And then I started researching the Egyptians and the Mayans and the Greeks and the Sumerians and the Aborigines, and they're all using sound and light for healing. So, where did we go wrong? Where did we get off course that these beautiful vibrational beings of light bodies started healing with medicine and drugs and supplements? And it didn't make sense to me. And I'm a bit of a private investigator, a weaver of information, a researcher, um, and I want to educate people. I want people to have the life that I have. I want people to feel I'm 55 and I'm the most vibrant I've ever been, the most healthy I've ever been, the most abundant I've ever been, the biggest manifester. I'm starting to be able to channel information, and I guess I always did, but it's more
Mm.
obvious now, more intuitive. And as the egg clears the trauma for at a cellular level and lifts that veil, you can see things that no one else can see. Not no one, but a lot of people don't see. And I'm saying seeing even
Mm.
from the third eye.
Yeah, I love that. It's really, yeah, kind of the profound journey of you seemingly like you look back and you can see what made sense, the breadcrumbs and these clues, but in the middle of it in the automotive industry, clearly, like you weren't like sitting on this reality that tomorrow you'd invent a harmonic egg that people go into. It's like a chamber, and it's like this amazing kind of embodiment of, you know, um, the technology in and of itself. When you go in, I feel like it's is very different because I've tried a lot of sound and I love tuning fork and even singing played a huge role for me in me coming into my own, coming out of my shell, and was part of a barbershop quartet, and I was part of the musicals, and singing really took me out of trauma, and it helped me integrate in a way that the thing next to it that helped was interpretive dance and movement, and those two combined brought me wholeness. And so I can think back to some of those elements and say some of those are ingredients that like felt so good, because when I was in the egg I couldn't help but want to move and flow and to feel, because I could feel it. It was good. I could feel the resonance and inside my being and also on my cranial facial bones. And then when I moved like this and did intraoral work and even shifted my sphenoid, I could feel the vibration going in between those porous places. And from the inside out, then I felt like, woo. So I felt a combination of more enlivened and more at rest than I had been, for sure prior to that session. And it was really, I think, a really deep, thorough experience.
I love hearing that. I've really prided myself in trying to keep the energy of the egg consistent and repeatable, creating brand attributes around the company of love and integrity and reliability and community. because I really wanted that energy to be in the egg. There's so many modalities out there now. Everybody's trying to make a dollar off the energy medicine uh, craze. You're old enough to know, the seminar junkies when everybody went to Tony Robbins or T. Harv Eker,
Mhm.
Chicken Soup for the Soul, and they would go every weekend and they didn't retain the information because you're just piling information on information on information. And one of my mentors said that most people retain about 25% of a seminar, and then they retain about 5% after about 2 months, I think he said. And so I really wanted to have something where people could integrate it properly. But so many people are like, yesterday I went to, and not me, but they'll say, yesterday I went to a massage and I did chiropractic adjustment. And then I'm going for an egg session today. And then I'm doing acupuncture tomorrow. It's too much. They're
Mhm.
medicine junkies. And it's too much for the body to absorb. We have to really slow down, sit in silence, listen to our bodies, and be discerning. You go into a place and you meet a healer and they're gonna, they're gonna heal you. No one heals you, you heal you. They can assist you. But if they have negative energy and they're losing their house and they're going through a divorce and they're just sad, that energy gets transferred, especially with empathetic people. So with the egg, it's consistent and repeatable because it's a machine, but it's a conscious technology. There's a consciousness about it that I don't understand yet. As an engineer, it doesn't make sense to me. But I have my center owners testing with, pendulums and dowsing, saying, when another egg hits the planet, no matter where it hits, there's a increase in the vibration of all of them. So somehow they're connected to the earth plane and connected to each other. So it's really brilliant about this conscious technology and trying to keep the energy clean around it. A lot of modalities, the people are fighting, they're suing each other, they were business partners, they're throwing each other under the bus. That goes into the technology. That
Mhm.
goes into that. And we have to be really careful with our energy because everything is energy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really wise. I mean, and that's kind of, you have me thinking, of course, with the way you received, I maybe to say like downloads are really the crux of how I know what I do and any of the protocols that I created that I now that I teach and kind of input into other organizations, things like that. It all came from these places of me witnessing, listening, the download. So, knowing that that's where you kind of like found this, birthed this, so to speak, were there also, things in your personal surroundings, relationships you were in, or just maybe your upbringing? Did anything else like show you aspects of this love and acceptance and harmony where you learned from that also? Or was it more like a grace that came with the technology that really showed you, or both?
Probably a combination of both. I think when I was born, I think I was really intuitive, but I didn't know. When you're 4 years old and you can do things, you think everybody knows how to do that because you're doing it. When you're 16 years old and you can open up a book and find the answers to the questions that you were just thinking about, you think everybody can do that.
Hmm.
You get older, you realize, and you start to talk to people, and you say, "Well, can't you just open up a book and get the answer?" No,
Right.
that there's certain things that I've always been able to do. Photographic memory. So I'd be taking a test and I can remember on page 2, second paragraph, I can remember reading where that answer was, and I can go back and find it in my head and put it down as the answer. So I thought everybody could do that. So there's
Hmm.
a lot of things. My parents were blue collar workers, just like a lot of people. My dad was an alcoholic. My mom was a control freak. They didn't show us a lot of love. My dad's way of showing love was to, criticize you or joke around with you or something. And
Yeah.
my mom's way of showing love was to, you know, yell at you, scream at you, control you. And so I had to get to a place where I could observe what was a healthy relationship? What is a healthy upbringing? And I had to do a lot of therapy, a lot of modalities, acupuncture, yoga, um, different talk therapies, and really realize that my upbringing made me who I am, but I can't make excuses for criticizing people, judging people, hating people, and say, oh, that's because I was raised that way. No, bull. You can, as an adult, you need to be responsible for your own healing and your own emotions. And you need to learn that the triggers are treasures, and it's a place for you to learn how to grow into love, abundance, and gratitude, because that's where the body is so healthy. The body attracts disease when you're in hate and fear, and guilt and shame. That's such a low vibration. And so I try to go everywhere and be in love and be in gratitude and be in service and appreciation for where people are on their journey. Somebody, cuts in front of me in a line. Of course, I get upset, but I think this is where they are in their journey, that they think that they're entitled and somehow that's acceptable behavior. So you can send them love. And it took me years to get here. It took me so many years, but the egg is what really anchored me into this gratitude and this love and just clearing this trauma and being able to see people where they are and not judge them and be able to talk to people. And they say, well, Gail, you're wrong. And I'm like, well, tell me why I'm wrong. And maybe I'll change the way I think about things because you're going to give me more information that I didn't have before. Or I'll say, okay, that's beautiful. That's where you are. And sometimes it's cute. And I'm going to just move on. I'm not going to argue with them. So it's been a combination of me taking responsibility for being an adult. And I see so many adults walking around as children. So when I'm in a grocery store, or I'm in a store, I can see the adults and I'll say they were stuck. They had an emotional disaster or trauma when they were 12, and they're still emotionally stuck at 12. And energetically, I can see
Hmm.
ask people, "What happened to you when you were 12?" "Oh, my parents got divorced." I'm like, "Mhm." I can see that they're stuck there still. So many adults are running around and they're just children in adult bodies. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of arguing, there's a lot of judgment, there's a lot of and if you look at adults that way, it's very cute. I mean, it's probably not cute, but to me it's cute. I'm like, "Oh, that's so cute. He's
Mhm.
65 years old, but he's acting like a 12-year-old," but I can see the
Yeah.
12-year-old boy just and I want power. And I'm the president of the HOA and I have all this power and you can't put up a fence there and you can't. And it's like, that's so cute. You're 12. It's cute. But you have to not judge and we have to meet people where they are. So over the years, the egg has helped me to be in this place of kind of adulthood, right? It has been really interesting to watch myself grow
Hmm.
and how I interact with other adults. So I don't really have a lot of friends. I have acquaintances because people I think are put off by me when I want to call them out on things and things like, hey, have you thought about this or have you thought about that? And a lot of people just want to complain and they want somebody to listen to their complaints. And it's just not me. I don't want people to be victims with me. I want to solve their problems. And it's not always attractive be in friendship with people who want to solve all your problems when you really just want to complain.
Yeah. Well, to those, to some who are like, you want to improve and grow. It's not always easy, but like when my wife and I are talking, and in the moment, it's hard to sometimes hear the constructive criticism. But I'm better now than I was before at handling it, because now I'm like, okay, you're saying that, and I know there's truth. I might feel differently, but okay, let me kind of like think about that and like, yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. I need to really involve that, and let's go off of that. And so I try now to take that as a draft, to where the energy of that can take me further than I was that would have been able to go on my own, because for me that is like the beauty of union. But more than that, the beauty of community or collective consciousness is like, if we can do those things with gentleness but firmness, then we can like grow so much more. But yeah, like I can speak to myself at a time where I would have been very defensive, and I would have walled off because I would have felt insecure, because to kind of go right with what you were saying, I hadn't experienced a maturation beyond a certain age because I was still stuck at this little Neil who didn't hear enough affirmation, didn't hear enough love. And, it's not that I now say that was anybody else's lack of doing. I just knew and know where to go for that, to source to God, to like have that endless supply and infinite, repository of affirmation and love so that I can outflow that, so that in tough times, conversations and confrontations, I can say like, ooh, that's so uncomfortable that I know that's gonna be really good. So yeah, I get what you're saying, and I appreciate that about you, because I think we can only really go deep and grow when we are willing to both be the person that brings that to others and receive that. So, oh, I wanted to say something too is um, to go into your empathic gift is especially in the different spectra of that. Like when you're seeing somebody at a grocery store, like you mentioned, or somewhere else, is it a combination of, do you like feel this flow in your body? Do you see colors? Do you see, is it very visual or auditory, or kind of what are the ways that you experience that?
Yeah, I think I have most of the clairs, but they come in different ways.
Yeah.
The other day I was seeing a client at my house. We were doing a trade, and I saw her aura, and it was very dim and it was very small. And she came with her friend the aura was big, and I usually don't see that. But I also was able to help her in a better way because I was able to tell her, like, you're exhausted. And there's a liver issue going on. And I said that you're either taking on someone else's anger or you're very angry. And I didn't feel she was very angry, but I wanted to give her options to open up and talk to me.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes I hear the messages that come in, they come into the right side, and it'll just be a little in my head, do this song, put this color on for
Hmm.
the session. So it's really interesting. Sometimes I think it's the egg talking to me, but do it outside. I have a really keen sense of smell as well. So I'll be in an elevator with somebody and I'm like, oh, they smell like heavy metals. So
Hmm.
and that's a blessing and a curse because you don't want to be smelling people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, so her aura was really, dim, and she's such a beautiful soul, and she was able to share some very, personal and private information with me about her husband and how he's been more emotionally abusive lately, and, um, I'm being careful to not reveal too much,
Sure.
um, but we started to backtrack, like, when did this all start? And she said he started using a modality a couple years ago, and it's a pretty popular modality. And she said ever since then, like, she didn't put it together until we traced this back. She said ever since he started using this modality that he loves, he's been more angry, he's
Mhm.
been more emotionally abusive, and he's just been different. And I'm just wondering if there's an energy being projected, like when you use a float tank and you go into the water, water holds information and energy. And I just know this. And then I research it. So sometimes my guides will say, research water and information and energy. And then you look at Emoto's work and
Mm.
you'll see, you put hate on a bottle and the crystals change. You put love on the bottle and the crystals are like beautiful snowflakes. Think about somebody releasing some anger in the float tank and then you go in after. If water holds information and energy, then you're picking up some of that energy. And so there's different modalities that are out there that I think aren't being used with integrity, or we have to learn how to clean this energy or protect ourselves when we go in. A lot of times we bring energy in and we take someone else's energy out. We have to know our bodies and know ourselves enough to be able to say, is this my energy? Am I really angry? No, it's not mine. I need to clear it. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of different ways that I feel I'm very clair sentient, clairaudient, clairvoyant, the clairs. Um, but it's like a muscle. It's just like anything.
Mhm.
If I want to get a strong bicep, I got to work out that muscle. And if you want to really be good with your clairs, you have to work them like a muscle.
Yeah. No, I love that foray into like the texture and the different strands. I know I look back and um one of there's many ways that I started to see, feel, sense what people were experiencing growing up. And in high school, or maybe even late grade school, but high school, I was really reserved, didn't talk much, and kept to myself. And so even at gatherings, parties, I was just sitting on the couch, just kind of observing. And yeah, I mean, a lot of insecurity was there too, but they coexisted because then I would, you know, look and I would the thing we always do, right? I would always know when it was 4:23. I would always know when it was a certain time. Then I got a mood ring. I would put it on. I would have it, so I would be able to change my body temperature, so the color of the ring would go from white to black, black to white, so I could warm my body with thought, cool my body with thought, warm my body. So I kept going back and forth, and then it's interesting because if you continually cool your body, it's thermogenic, so it increases your temperature, so you end up getting warmer at the end. So I went through this time where I had to like not do that because my hypothalamus was all out of whack. But then later I started to experience more of the thoughts and hearing people. And I always try to make sure I give people like, is it okay if I listen to some of the things that you might be saying? And so that I'm not overstepping boundaries as I started to practice this gift more and more. But um, yeah, and I was just riffing off of what you were saying. When I'm in sessions or when I'm leading gatherings in groups and I'm feeling the room and I can just sense, oh, there's there's a draw there. There's a place that feels cold. There's a place that feels like what needs nourishing over there. And so I kind of go over and try to outflow, or I try to speak to something. I'll say, "Are you feeling pain in your back right there? Like, how can we help you with that? Here, try this movement." Whatever way that it works with the kind of teaching that I'm doing at the time to demonstrate how we can tap in, hear, understand, show empathy, show validation, and also facilitate healing. Because I love what you said. It's like I do speak of being a healer, but more than that, I speak of it's that I'm facilitating healing, and I think we all are healers. We all have this ability to heal ourselves. That's how we were made, and so then we can have that to outflow. And so I've seen a lot of empaths over the years come and say, but I'm so drained. I'm so how do I do this? And so I've helped them, equip them on how they can build scaffolding so that they could be impervious in any environment to not feel affected by the external environment. So I have a lot of different ways that I teach that and I do that. So now it's on autopilot since like 2000 and like 16. I haven't had to think about it much. It's just there. It works. And if I ever feel something more than a day, I'm like, what was that? Oh, it was that person. And I think I need to still go tell them something and help them with something. And so I'm given that reminder by the lingering of that, but I don't ever have to hold it. I can always let it go if I want. So I think by this point, I've developed enough practice that there's mastery. But for some people, let's just say there's people out there who they don't even know they have this gift, but then we're talking and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I think I do." Or the people that are like, I know you guys, Gail and Neil, come on, you're preaching to the choir, but how do I build up this resilience?" So can you speak to that? Keys on resilience on how people can be impervious in circumstances and environments.
So I think the biggest thing is to sit in silence, to not overdo things, to not over worry, because worrying is just like pretend way of thinking that you're in control, but you're not in
Hmm.
any control.
Yeah.
Uh, it's hard because I hear what you're saying, and I'm the same way, and I want to walk up to somebody and go, "Oh my gosh, like I see in your eyes that your back hurts." And I went on a date one time, and I asked the guy, I'm like, how bad is your back pain?" And he's like, "What?" And I said, "I can see in your eyes that your back hurts." Well, he never called me again. And this was I've been with the same guy for 13 years now, so it's obviously like 15 years ago. So
Right.
I've been doing this for a long time. So I try sometimes I know when somebody's suffering, but I don't say anything because they might not be ready to heal. But then I'm expending energy for somebody who's not ready to heal.
Hmm.
My boyfriend says you're just getting your pant legs wet, like you're peeing and it's getting, it's blowing right back on you. So he
Right.
has, some crude ways of saying things, but it's
It's
really
effective.
good.
Yeah, I say that's effective imagery for sure, 'cause nobody wants that.
Right, right. So, I've been learning and it's hard to do with family. I notice with my sister, I always want to give her advice. I want to help her, but she's not ready to heal. And so then it comes back in a negative way because I'm telling her stuff that she's not ready to deal with.
Yeah.
So I try not to do that. So
Mhm.
keeping some of your own energy, sitting in silence, going out in nature, doing meditations, doing yoga. But I heard a story the other day and it was very revealing. And this will be really a good analogy for people. So someone gets a headache and they take an Advil and it gets rid of it. So does that mean that everybody's headache is going to get better with an Advil? No. They could have they could have had a food headache,
Mhm.
tension headache, an allergy type headache, a sinus headache, a type of migraine. So when you ask me this question, everybody's going to be different, and you need to figure out what is it that you need to replenish your joy bucket, your energy. And for me, it's my horse. It's
Mm.
going out in nature. It's sitting in silence. It's doing my yoga. And it's just tuning into my own body and filling up my joy bucket and my energy again. I went to Conscious Life Expo and I don't get sick very often, but I did get sick when I came home from there because it just seems like everybody's pulling on the energy of the speakers. And I didn't protect myself very well. And I was talking to Elizabeth April after, and she was like, "Oh, yeah, I probably should have told you. Like the first time you go there, it's pretty intense." And the first time she went there, I think she said she passed out. She just got so, overwhelmed with everything. And she was just like, "Yeah, you got to be really careful because there's just so much energy there." So we have to learn how to put up our bubbles. Some people zip up. Some people have different symbols that they use. So you have to find what works for you to replenish that energy. And I know that's not the answer you're looking for. Other
No, that's exactly, yeah,
like,
it's right on.
like, tell me to put a box around me that has a mirror and then tell me to take this supplement and I'm good. I can't, I can't tell you that. Um, I don't take a lot of supplements, but I muscle check things during the day. I'm like, I need something. So I'll go in the cabinet, I'll muscle check B12, and I always take a liquid because I think B12 liquid is more effective than any kind of pill. Or I'll muscle check. Maybe I need zinc. And so I might take one zinc every 2 months. I may take 5 drops of B12 and not take it again for 6 months. But my intuition always tells me you need something. Go to the cabinet, take out a few things, muscle check it. And sometimes when I look in the cabinet, the things highlight. They just pop out. And I know to grab that bottle or that container, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%, I love that, and yeah, you spoke right to it. I love it when people ask me, "Neil, you know, I'm struggling with this," or "My baby's struggling with this," or "Can I do this? What can I do? Can I do this? And, like, can you just tell me what to do?" And I said, "Let me find out what's going on first. Then I can give you some answers, and that'll help you now, and I hope it helps you ongoing, but check in with me or come back because it has to continue helping you in order for it to actually work." So it's so specific, so nitty-gritty, even when we're talking about the empathic shielding, and so that's my favorite thing to do is to be with one person and help them. But when I'm kind of with a bigger group and I give analogies and just like you did, I say, this works for me. What's your analog? What is your symbol or what's your, and for some people, they don't have a thing, they just have a state of mind, like you said, joy. And they're like, "I just know when I'm in joy." And I was like, "That's perfect." So I think it's just the more somebody dances and experiences that over time, they build up their repertoire, and then it's truly good. But, we change day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year, so it can change so much. So I love the leaning into intuition and the seasons and cyclical. We're beings that change and morph, and I think that's a really beautiful thing. So I wanted to ask you something, two main things. One, I love that we're getting into the waters of emotion and empathy, and then to get a little more technical too. If you wouldn't mind giving me like a paragraph, 1 minute, what is the egg on a technical level? Like, what is it made of, or how? Not every single fiber of the construction, but like, what is it, and what happens to you when you go in it?
Yeah, that's great. Uh, I felt like we need to go back to simplicity. So many people
Mhm,
they put all these screens in there, there's EMF in there, and they've got, just all kinds of, it's made out of metal. And I thought, let's go back to the basics. And if I line the inside with wood, which I use walnut, and walnut is very sustainable, walnut has tight grain, so it's not going to hold any kind of viruses or fungus or anything like that. And a lot of people use it for cutting boards. They'll use walnut because it doesn't hold the salmonella or any kind of, you can cut raw meat on it. It's got a tight grain, so it's not going to seep through there. So every little thing is like the Taj Mahal. Every piece of the egg has so much story behind it and why it's used. So that would take hours, but it's like the tiles of the Taj Mahal, all with intent.
mhm. Yeah, I
And so
love that.
the outside is a recyclable PVC foam type of material, and there's 12 sides. So I always look at the numbers three, sixes, and nines. And when you look
Mhm.
at nature, you see a lot of three, sixes, and nines. And Tesla talks about three, six, and nine. I
Yeah.
think his favorite number was nine. So divisible by three. And so it's paneled with 12 sides. So
Mhm.
two plus one is a three. Then over time, I started thinking about the honeybees and how their hives are hexagons. So there's got to be some power there.
Mhm.
You research the number six, and so the hexagon is a number six. And I knew intuitively to put a hexagon platform that I would sit the chair on, but I didn't know why at the time. I just knew what it had to be. And funny enough, I later found out that the center of a hexagon can be like a portal. And I'm thinking, how funny is that? That the chair is on the hexagon where it makes it kind of a portal there. And then when you look at a circle, 360 degrees, so 6 plus 3 is a 9. And so I was really looking at the dimensions, the golden mean ratio, the sacred geometry of everything, the cosmic egg, the womb space. And so when people go in, I want them to feel hugged. I want them to
Mhm.
feel like in a cocoon. I want them to feel in a space that is safe and full of love. And when we create the music around um, the wave files or WAV files. It's a .wav. Some people call it WAV, some people call it wave. But when you use an MP3 file, you compress music and make it cold and clinical. You're not getting the full expression of the music. And the egg comes to me and says, hey, Gail, as we're growing, as we're raising our vibration, as more people are using the egg, they're raising their vibration. We need different music. And so over the years, I've been producing music that's from a high heart energy musician. And then I say, okay, listen, we need drumming for this piece of music because the intention is going to be around survival, root chakra, the eyes, the ears, the taste, the knees, all associated with root chakra. So when your root chakra is out of balance, you could have knee issues, eye issues, hearing issues, taste issues, survival. And then I'll say, okay, this music has to be around flute. And we're going to use orange light because we want people to heal their liver and get rid of the anger that they're holding. So every piece, I mean, even the chair, how far it leads back to open up the heart space, everything in there was so much intention and so much research and thoughtfulness for the client to heal naturally. We did heart rate variability testing. And we showed that over 200 heart rate variability tests that everyone was improving their autonomic nervous system, um, sometimes small, sometimes huge. But there was no one that didn't see an improvement in the ANS after a session. We did
Mm.
pre and post testing, about 200 of them. I don't do white papers. I've been told I need to do some medical research in white papers. But when you look at a white paper and you make a claim like that, I'd have to say that I'd want, 40 women of the same age.
Mhm.
They had the same job. They had the same mom and dad. They lived in the same state, in the same city. They ate the same foods. That's how you get a good study, not a study where you've tested 100 people at the ages of 16 to 90. I mean, where's the consistency of that? So I just don't think these studies and this science is really science based. So I look at testimonials, and the testimonials that we have, thousands and thousands of them, when people tell me these things that happened to them in the egg, it's beautiful. And of course, there's the person that'll say nothing happened.
Mhm.
Have to laugh and just send them love, because usually they're not in tune with their body or they're not ready to heal.
Yeah, and I think there's a tremendous benefit to, like those people having somebody in their lives that can say, "Oh yeah," just like I was telling you earlier, like you might need some somatic work. You might benefit from some body work, or you might, or, some people just they could use something to like help open their minds up. But I think some people too, they they might, some people put up walls, they don't even know they're putting them up, and so I think there's some of a skeptic could be in some people. But when you get into this and literally get into this, and when you delve into the world of frequency, it's like you just love the different ways of engaging with such a nourishing kind of, it's not even technology, it's just the earth and the existence on this planet. You intermingle with light and sound, like you said, and you add in touch and you add in all the energy, and it's like there's just so much that's available. So I love that, you were talking about the ANS and how you could see that change. And because I think, if there's one thing we could say, uh, it's a broken record, but who doesn't need more nervous system regulation, right? Most people need it,
Yeah.
um, all the time, more of it. And it doesn't always mean we need to calm. Some people need to up level their energy and abound in energy so they can get out of, the fawn states. Whereas somebody who's stuck in like freeze or fight or flight, they might need that settling. So I love that there's the different colors, that you can program with the egg. I love that, like Sarah put on a soundtrack that, and she said it. She's with the intake she took before, we sat in this cozy room right next to the egg. And I love that you call it a cocoon, because you're right. When I said chamber, I'm like, oh yeah, that's this metal big thing that you get in versus a cozy hug. Um, and so she asked me, like, "What do you have going on?" And I gave her a little bit of insight on some of what I was going through, both on a physical, emotional, and like goal setting state. And she's like, "I really feel like I have something that's going to really be great for you." And it was also in the tone of her voice and also the confidence. I'm like, "Oh, I feel it's curated for me." And so there is that personal touch that adds to this experience where I'm not just going into this thing to receive a thing so somebody can do something. I'm going into um, a composed environment where this amazing sound that's already been composed is then catered towards me, and then I can engage with it as I will and feel that. And so definitely there was awakening that I experienced, and I was really, yeah, appreciating that.
Yeah, we call it a musical prescription for you.
Yeah.
And I have painstakingly put together protocols, training. We have training. We have the business model is more the divine feminine business model of abundance for everybody. So I so appreciate you sending people
Yeah.
to Sarah, sending people to Donna and Mount Shasta, sending people to the egg centers, because I want to create abundance for everyone. It's not a franchise. I don't take royalties. And
Mhm.
I have a monthly call with the center owners. They can ask questions. I want everybody to feel supported, and I want them to feel like they have the protocols for any situation for any client. So they have that gives them confidence. I also provide them with, education on people missing tones in their voice. So, say you're missing the tone of E in your voice, you're probably going to have lung issues, asthma, allergies. I know you had asthma as a child, and so
Hmm.
I had it as well. You can be missing the tone of E and
Hmm.
color yellow. So they all have these charts and these graphs, and they can have an intake. And you can say, "Hey, I have lung problems." They're like, "You know what? I'm going to find a song that's in the tone of E because Gail created all these songs in different tones or keys, so that we can use them for any kind of client, any kind of situation." I even had now the eggs are starting to ask me to create songs that also help the land.
Hmm.
There's a song that we have, "When Nature Sings," and its intention is to help the microbes on the planet to be hydrated. We're so dehydrated as a human species right now. You can drink as much water as you want, but if your cells aren't healthy and and you're not healthy, you're not going to absorb that water. And so one of the intentions for that song is to help hydrate the microbes on the planet, which will then help hydrate the foods, which will then help hydrate us. So maybe the root cause of not being hydrated is the planet and not necessarily what we're eating or drinking. So the eggs are always communicating with me and always kind of sharing me. We need more, we need a song about oxygenation. We need the bodies, the clients to have more, oxygenation. So recently, the newest song I'm working on, which I have a call after we're done, is with a musician for a song with the intention of overwhelm.
Mm.
Many people are overwhelmed right now. I can,
Yeah.
s- I am, and so I wanted this the musician needed to be like the Caribbean island from Jamaica, one of those like, yeah, man, everything's cool. I'm living in the present and it's all good. And so I found a musician that is going to do a piece for us on overwhelm. And his energy had to be so
Mm. Okay.
type of the island guy, like
Yeah.
everything's
Yeah.
fine and it's good. And I want when people listen to that song, I want them to leave and not feel overwhelmed and feel like they can just take on the world and nothing bothers them. And so there's always these intentions. So when you come in and there's an intake, then the center owner knows all the music they have available to them. They know how to use the colors. Blue is very calming and relaxing and anti-inflammatory, and purple can be detoxing and help with the crown chakra. So they know all these things from the training that they've been through.
Yeah, I love that. It's so nourishing. I say the word nourishing, and it's even the way that I view this is going to be a little tangent, but when somebody is asking like, what kind of what kind of diet, what kind of food should I cut out? This should I see so many like people who come in and they're cutting away, eliminating so much, and there's a time for that. But I'm like, yeah, you know I hear you. First of all, that's not my main focus. So I'm here to help you in other ways. However, um, just for a personal perspective, I eat by color and wavelength so often. So, if I see a red apple, I'm like, I'm going to get so much energy from that because the red is energy and passion. And some other times I need, that soothing green that sure it's, I don't take greens to boost my immune system. I take greens because they have chlorophyll, sure, but I really take greens because I love the color green. And I think childlikeness brings us that. So I just love when we like weave sound and light. And like approach it like childlikeness, it looks like the egg. Like, there's such a childlikeness, but then there's also such a nurturing with the womb, such a nurture and such a broad um, support. And so you said it, and we were talking, but one of my passions and like through lines of everything that I'm really doing is to say, we need the divine feminine to be flourishing, for intuition to flow. Men, of course, some people listening to this know exactly what we're talking about, but men and women need to, have both polarities, right? So we can have the masculine and feminine within each. And so when we have like protocols and structures, the masculine, but then we need the flow, intuition, and the suppleness, to being able to see like what's good here and what is that like, so I love that. I feel like you've really brought those together with the harmonic egg because it has this walnut structure, very specific. And yet then it has the light and the sound and the way that people can feel nurtured in a cocoon. So it's really beautiful to see the polarities dance to encompass people as they experience this. And then I want to say, hmm, um, oh my gosh, so many things. But what I want to make sure that I get to is uh, your well, I don't want to jump away from what we're talking about too quickly. So I really get excited about when in Santa Barbara we have this beautiful ocean, coastal beach, and when people come into me, they're here for an experience. So I think I was telling you, I'm really excited for what people coming. It's called the system reset experience when they come in for, sometimes it's like 10 hours of in-person work over 2 days, where I just want to send them to Alfara so they can go get the egg as a way to even prepare for or at least integrate after our experience to feel that nourishment, to feel like a reset or even um, a way to feel like you said they're missing the sound of E, that key, the note, because could be lung issues, could be things with the skin. And so um, some of these things they're gonna get from people around them. And then but if you're really deficient in something like that, you've really put such wisdom into this beautiful harmonic egg. So uh, you know, that's amazing to see that you've brought this onto this planet. And then I wanted to also mention too that for those out there who don't know, there's also the lift. And that is a I know you can explain it better than I can, but I just loved that there is this harmonic egg and it's like guardians will get this, they'll buy it, they'll have it, and it takes space and it takes over. And obviously it's great at a place like Alfara where it's this skincare place, this but for homes they can have the lift, right? Where it's like a personal unit.
Yes, now I gotta go back to all the stuff. I got this in my head.
Sure.
Also in the egg, there is a subwoofer below the chair, so you get a sonic massage. So you get sound, vibration, light. You get
Mhm.
the whole. It's so many different modalities in one, and you're surrounded by wood, and there's spiritual properties of wood. I want to go back to you eating the rainbow of colors, and people wearing the rainbow. We got to go back to the lift, and then yes, Alfara and that place is so great because um people will feel anti-aging. I believe that the egg strengthens the telomeres.
Mhm.
So there is an anti-aging property to it. Like I was just in Cancun and I turned 55. So I told the girl, I know it's my birthday, and I said I'm 55 today. And she's like, there's no way. She's like, I thought 40
Mhm.
ish. And so I just start laughing. Because some people straight up tell me I'm lying. They're like, there's no way you're 55. And I'm like, here's my driver's license. I was born in 70. So it's kind of comical. I think it's strengthening the telomeres or the telomeres, however people say it. And then we'll go, I think that I got caught up, but I want to say about the colors.
Mhm.
There's, banks use colors like greens and blues for calming. Like you can trust us with your money. But
Mhm.
then you look at McDonald's and they're using yellow. It's an appetite stimulant. No, stimulate the appetite, and red, super stimulating colors to make you eat more,
Mhm.
and it's maybe make you eat fast, and then you eat too much because you eat so fast you don't realize you're full. I mean, you see all these colors that people use in their brands to make you feel how it is that they want you to feel. You're eating intuitively. I eat intuitively. Sometimes I need blueberries. Sometimes I need apples. Sometimes I need something else. And intuitively, I wore green today, and you said you love the color green, and I was just like looking at my closet. And I'm like, I have to wear the green shirt today, so that was funny.
Yeah.
So now we'll go back to the lift. But yes, I wanted to catch up on what you. I'm like,
Perfect.
it was all stuck right there. I'm like,
That's
okay,
great. I love it.
that stuff.
You
because
helped some people who didn't even know they needed to hear the people are like, "Oh, thank you. You brought closure and to the thoughts that they were wanting more insight on too."
right, so it was, like, so brilliant, and I love when people eat the rainbow and wear the rainbow. Like,
Mm,
my
yeah.
boyfriend, he wears a black t-shirt and blue jeans every day. His skin's all gnarly because, like, you can't just wear black every day and expect, to have this beautiful, vibrant skin, and he just doesn't. That's just his thing. He's a motorcycle guy, and he's
Mhm.
just he's just who he is. Um, but anyway, the lift is beautiful. I have a lift in my house, and I have an egg in my house. The lift is for more for maintenance. You get a self-care guide with the lift. You get the same kind of music, but you just get one light string and one speaker, where the
Mhm.
egg has two light strings, two speakers, and a subwoofer.
Yeah.
Also made the lift is it's a kind of light capsule. It's, beam me up, Scotty.
Yeah. I saw that. It looked like
It's
small.
Yeah, the inside's made out of oak instead of walnut for different spiritual properties for you to
Mm.
have it at home, and you can use it every day. I'll go into the lift in the morning for 10-15 minutes. You could do a full 39-minute session, like the egg is a 39-minute session with 10 minutes of silence. You can do that, but I'll do intuitive writing in the morning. I'll plan my day out. It's really beautiful. It's really lovely. But once a week, I go into the egg, and the egg's integration time is 5 to 7 days. You want to wait 5 to 7 days before you do another energy modality because
Mhm.
it is so powerful and it is so um, detoxing. It's clearing trauma. It's doing so many things metabolically through the nervous system. So you want to give that time to integrate. But the lift, I absolutely love it. It fits in the corner. It's 48 inches in diameter, so it'll fit in the corner where the egg needs a 14-foot by 14-foot room.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's amazing that you have both of those. And yeah, of course, um, they're different as you describe them, but a great way for somebody to be able to have a unit at their home and be able to enjoy that. So the okay, the place I want to get to here as we kind of have a little bit more time before but I would look forward to a future chat. I can't wait for more conversations, Gail. So I you're gonna be getting emails here and there. I'm gonna be sending you thoughts. I'm gonna be sending you like questions, thoughts, but don't worry. I'll make sure you don't get overwhelmed or inundated by all of them. But um the is because even the conversation because of what you carry and what you built and what fuels you, I can feel hydration as we talk, and I can feel that in the room even though we're not in the same room, but we have this connection here. So I would love to know the question that, and then I gave you this question and I love asking people this, and it is about your personal legend. And the quick painting the picture is the alchemist really inspired me, that book, but it's not the book, it's more of, oh, I have a specific album that I play when I read that book because it is just as much a part of the journey that I take. Actually, it's the Riveras, Alberto and Kimberly Rivera, and the album's called Numa, Pneuma, and it's an instrumental. I'll send it to you.
Cool.
There's a place in the book where, the story where the protagonist, Santiago the shepherd, he is approached or, goes up to this old king on a bench, and the Melchizedek, this mystical king, says, you know, the universe conspires in your favor when you are in pursuit of your personal legend. There's so many other quotes from the book, but a personal legend, it's like your destiny, your calling, what provokes you, what you're put on this planet to do. I think a lot of people listening will be like, Neil, it's so clear what Gail is called here to do. But I also want to know, what is your navigation system? The legend on a map has like markings like from here to here is 10 miles, or there's trees over here, or there, that kind of a thing. I want to know, what is your legend, and how do you know you're on that path or maintaining that path?
Yeah, I don't think my legacy or my legend is the harmonic egg. I don't want to define myself as this modality, this conscious technology. I
Hmm.
think I want my legend and my legacy to be that people say, every time I listen to Gail, I learn something new.
Hmm.
And I want to spread love like glitter. I don't know if you have any. little girls. You said you had a
Yeah,
9-year
we have a 9-year-old girl. Yeah.
glitter, and then you can't get the glitter off. I want to throw love around like glitter because you can't get rid of glitter.
I
You
love it.
can,
Right.
you can find the glitter somewhere. And so I want people to learn. I want people to, say, hey, Gail, something that you said really resonated with me and it made me change my life. And I
Mm.
do hear it a lot. They say, the egg changed my life. But I want people to tune into their bodies, to listen to their bodies, to be their own doctor, to do things more in love, do things more in kindness. I put out a documentary called It's Time. And really, it's time for more love. It's time for more kindness. My license plate frame says "Be kind." Um,
Mhm.
where I go, I try to spread that love glitter. Do I have bad days? Yeah, I do. But then I just stay in the house, right? And actually, I never have a bad day. It's usually just bad moments. I
Mm.
never have a bad day. And so I want to spread that love and gratitude. And I want to teach people that when you live in hate and fear and shame and guilt, that's when you're attracting disease. You're not going to attract disease. You're not the radio station of cancer and herpes and Parkinson's and all these different things. That the radio station it's on is the fear and the hate and the shame and the guilt. But the radio station of love and gratitude, it's pretty clean. It's pretty healthy, and your body's not going to attract that kind of disease and illness when you're in love and gratitude. And I want people to do something every day that um, helps change the world, to do something more with love, do something more with kindness, not judge people. And so the documentary opens up with a quote from one of the doctors that I interviewed, and it says, "Judgment is the only thing that separates us." And I think it's such a powerful quote. Then I end the movie with a Muhammad Ali quote. If you'd like, just a small amount of people would do something with love every day, we could change the world. And I just see that, the systems need to be changed. The education system, the medical system, the financial system, the government systems, everything needs to change for us to have a more quality life with more abundance. I hate seeing when people are living paycheck to paycheck. I know that there can be abundance for everybody. I think everybody deserves to be able to have a savings account, have a home for their children, to be able to go on a vacation, and to not live such a stressed life. And with the taxes and the inflation and the rate of things going up when our paychecks don't go up, everything needs to change. And so I have when something comes up and I want to see change, I will dive into it. And when people say, well, you just have to deal with it, you know what, get out of my way because I'm not going to just deal with it. It needs to change. And the same thing happened when the harmonic egg. I had the idea came forward, and I talked to a manufacturer, and he said, the egg cannot be made. It's impossible to make a large wooden egg. And as soon as somebody tells me that, I tell them, "Get the hell out of my way and watch me." Like there's a saying, I think up in Idaho, they said the saying is, "Hold my beer and watch this." So I kind of want to say, "Hold my beer," which you don't really drink a lot of beer. Um, just get out of my way and watch. And Walt Disney said, "If you can dream it, you can do it." Granted, I'm not Walt Disney, but I dreamt it and I did it. So when you start hitting brick walls or things don't work out, that's when you want to stop and think about, am I on the right path?
Yeah.
Is this the trajectory I'm supposed to be on? When I look back at my path and I laugh about how I got put into engineering, and then I got put into international business and telecom, and then I got put into Hollywood, and I see how my life has been just guided by me saying yes. I don't know how much I said yes to living in Michigan and being born with my parents, but I'm sure there was a yes on a soul level before, I came into the earth plane. I get an offer for a job to move to Texas and be in telecom. I just said yes. And I get an offer to do a Hollywood movie. I said yes. So I always tell people, say yes. Say yes to life. Say yes to things. And I have somebody that I know right now that's afraid to fail. And so they keep sabotaging themselves so that they don't fail. But you can't have a win without a failure. And you're going to have a lot more failures than you are wins. But if you're afraid to fail, you're never going to win.
Hmm. Yeah, wisdom. Yeah, and I was gonna say the Epcot Center is cool, but the getting inside the Harmonic Egg, which is white as well in a structure, is a lot more magical. But uh, but Walt Disney, yeah, quite an inspiring visionary. So, well, I think that's really great wisdom and insight, and it feels like a really good place for us to know that the only way we can stop this conversation is to know that we'll have another one. So hopefully you're on board, and I know we talked about that. So I would so love to have that. And um, but there's so many salient points and such wisdom that you shared. So I know people can find you the Harmonic Egg Instagram page, and we're gonna put everything in the show notes that you sent us. Um, and in just another minute to say anything that you want to leave, any other ways that people can reach you, or any final kind of comment here before we finish?
Gosh, I think we've said so much. Yeah,
Yeah,
harmonicegg.com. It's the books, it's the film. You can find everything
yeah,
there. The music that we created, the consciously created music, you can find there. And yeah, I think we've said it all.
yeah. Well, we have, but you could say so much more. I could, yeah. I'm excited for more. So, yeah. So, Gail, thanks so much for sharing, for exuding who you are, for flowing, for answering my question about describing the egg to a being on another planet, because I love that. And so that was
Great.
so fun. So, to anybody out there who's curious, go find an egg. Go to the website. You'll find an egg near you. Come to Santa Barbara. Come to Alfara, um, and yeah, just kind of engage with the world around you in a way that you haven't after hearing our conversation. And please comment, like, and do all the things, and enjoy your day. And we'll come back to you another day with another conversation.
This is major.
Thank you for listening to the Compromise to Alchemize podcast. Really excited to thank Jessica from Lunalux for the music, this track called Major. I want to thank Toshi, who originally did the design work for my cover art. And then I also want to thank Alyssa, my team, for podcast publishing, my whole team, including Kat, for heading up my world. And then also definitely want you all to follow me on YouTube, follow the podcast on Spotify or Apple or wherever you get your podcast, comment, give us a rating, and also follow me on Instagram at Dr. Neil Bulchandani so you can stay tuned to my latest. Thanks so much, and you have an amazing